Hello everybody, Baruch Hashem. We're starting today a new talk from the Rebbe. This is from the book, The Royal Words. It's, if you look down in the description, it'll show you where you can get the book. It's from the, this is the works from the Lubavitcher. Last year he spoke. It's on page 140 of it. This is the book of Shemos. There's two books in Shemos. This is book 1. It's on page 140. We're going to read from the top. It says, from the talks of the Shabbos, the Torah portion of Bo, the 6th of Shevat, and Shabbos, the Torah portion of Beshalach, the 13th of Shevat, 5752, regarding the virtue of Jewish women and women of our generation, may they live. Translated from the Hebrew. So like what the Rebbe is explaining, what happens is the Rebbe speaks various times, and sometimes through the week they will put they will put all of what the Rebbe talked about and combine them in one talk, in one sikha. The Rebbe will review it and publish it. So this was said by two times. Okay. Regarding the virtue of the Jewish women and women of generation, may they live. Translated from Hebrew. Among some, remember we're talking about here all about the yard site from the Frierdiker Rebbe, and that the Frierdiker Rebbe, how he finished all the work, and that the Rebbe is doing the final work to bring the Moshiach Mamash down into the world in a complete way, and that Moshiach is going to take us all home very soon. But we're talking about the greatness that we were only able to do what we can do now and to finish everything and being ready for the Gula Shleimer. Only we could do that is because of the service of the Frierdiker Rebbe, which preceded the service of the Rebbe. So everything works from what gets strength from what was before. That's why the vote is always getting bigger. That everything we do is always getting more refined. The world always getting better because the good just keeps being more and more until the good will be so revealed that all the bad will disappear, which we should see right away. So now we're just on page 140, number 1. Among the innovations of my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe of the leader of a generation, Rebbe Yosef Yitzchak, whose yahrzeit is on the 10th of Shevat, is his occupation and dedication to influence Jewish girls and women in the matters of Judaism, Torah, and its commandments, including and especially teaching Hasidic teachings, in addition to the men and boys. So therefore, one of the new things that the Frierdiker Rebbe started was saying that we have to concentrate on starting teaching the women. Before this, the men weren't even taught. Many of them didn't even know how to read. They were just taught to be good mothers and be at home. There was no teaching for them. It wasn't accepted. Women were supposed to just, have good meetings, good attributes, and be holy and say Tehillim, but they didn't know much. So the Frierdiker Rebbe started saying it's time that they have to know a lot. Moreover, his efforts in this was through emphasizing the special virtue of the Jewish women. So how did, besides saying it's time for the women have to learn, he said also that the women has a special virtue, that every one of them is the foundation of the home, and it is in her power to affect the whole household, including the children and the husband. So this is so special, the woman, because she's the foundation of the home, and if the woman is holy, she runs a holy home, and this is a place that affects her husband comes to a holy home, the children grow up in a holy home, it affects everybody. So the woman has a very, very special virtue and a very special merit that she has this, that this is her job and she can do this. And the source for this, as elucidated in his known address regarding the precedence of women over men, that women are more important than men, regarding very important matters for the Jewish people. So the women have special things that the Frierdiker Rebbe talked about, how they're devoted their service in this world that's more important in many ways over than the service of over men. At the giving of Torah, we're saying how special the women were. And when the Torah was given, as it's written, and so shall you say to the house of Yaakov, referring to the women. And afterwards tell the sons of Israel, when God gave the Torah and he came down, the first people he talked to was the women. He says to the women, and then he talked to the men. And at the contributions, so when the Jews, when we were contributing for the Mishkan, the tabernacle, when we were going to build Hashem's holy place in the desert, the tabernacle, it says, and they shall make what's it say about this beautiful, beautiful thing? And it says, they shall make a sanctuary for me and I will dwell among you. So now we made a special sanctuary for Hashem and he will dwell among us. And the verse says over there that the men came together with the women. What's it mean the men came together with the women? That they, the women, were first, and the men merely joined them. So here again we see the specialness of the women, that the women were so much wanting Hashem, that was a whole being and whole schools and whole mirror, that they, from the Mishkan to build a dwelling place for God, they were the first to run, to give everything they had, and the men followed. Because that's the special merit, because they have a special level of holiness. And in addition to presence in time, addition that they came before the men in time, also and mainly that they have a special level of superiority in virtue. It says that the giving of the Torah, that the women did not want to give their gold, and indeed did not give their gold to make the golden calf. They did not take in the sin of the golden calf, which was the exact opposite of giving of Torah. And at the contribution of Mishkan, as the verse says, and all the women spun goat's hairs. This is an outstanding craftsman, that they spun them, the threads, while the hair was still growing on the goats. So the Rebbe is explaining here all the special virtues of the women. When the Jews made the golden calf, the men wanted everybody to give gold, the women refused. Because they only wanted God. They wanted the Torah. They didn't want anything but God. It says, let's look down at 11. It says, in addition to the fact that the gold they did not want to give for the making of the golden calf, they gave it, moreover, with joy for the making of the tabernacle, which emphasizes even more than refusing to give it for the golden calf, for the making of the golden calf. In other words, they are holy, and the Jewish women were so holy, they wanted to do everything for Hashem and reveal Hashem, take everything, and something that was against Hashem, they refused to have anything to do with. This is how holy they were. And again, he goes on to explain that another thing explains that there was one of in the tabernacle, the Mishkan that was made, they made many different coverings. One of the coverings was made from goat's hair. And because they wanted for the holy temple to be the best and it should be special, that it says that the women would spin the goat's hair to make the thread for it while it was still on the goat. It was a very hard thing to do. And furthermore, so when here we see how special, and furthermore, now this is the most important, that their special connection to the redemption. So they have a special connection to redemption. Well, let's say 13 about the goats here. Rashi commentary. So that they spun hairs, it's on page 142. So they spun hairs will have an additional glare, since unprocessed hair from the most part, when they are uprooted from their pores, they lose a bit of their fine quality, as well as the virtue of absolute purity through the fact that the spinning is of a light animal's hair, since it cannot become impure while alive. In other words, two levels. One, that it had a special glow, it was more special. And the other one is that because of that it couldn't become impure. And we may also say that through the donation for the tabernacle was from the living animal species, similar to the advantage of a sacrifice from a living animal species over the sacrifice of organic species. The Rebbe says there's another thing it has to do that living animals should be involved in giving over to the base of Mikdash at a higher level than using organic, using other like organic species, which mean in vegetables or plants or any type like that. Okay. And our sages say, we're down at 142, and our sages say, in the merit of the righteous people that were in that generation, the Jewish people were redeemed from Egypt. And likewise regarding the redemption which is destined to come about, which is said, just as in the days you left Egypt, I will show you wonders, that it will be in the merit of the righteous women in the generation, as the words of our sages says, that the generation will be redeemed only in the merit of the righteous women that are in the generation. So in other words, the Rebbe is saying how special that we were redeemed because the Jewish women were so special and holy. For the merit of them being so special and holy and given over to Hashem, that's why we're redeemed from Egypt. And the same thing, the final redemption, it will be like the redemption from Egypt because of the specialness and the holiness of the Jewish women and how they bring their holiness and specialness into the world, especially, as we said before, into their home, which affects their family and affects the whole world. And especially in accordance, we're at the bottom of 142, especially in accordance with what is explained in the writing of the Rizal, that the generation of the future redemption is the reincarnation of the generation left Egypt. And in accordance with this, the righteous women of our generation, which in their merit we are redeemed are the same women which in their merit the exodus from Egypt transpired. So, Ria Kodesh says that each generation, most of the generations, both souls that are born now, they were already in the world, and they come down again to do more work in the world and to make the world better, to finish whatever job they have to do. So it says, there's the whole idea of reincarnation. So it says that the Jews that left Egypt, they didn't finish everything, and they're the same. We are the same Jews left in Egypt. The same women who walked out of Egypt with tambourines, with Miriam, and singing and dancing and praising Hashem for all joy. The same women are nowadays. And just like then, because when we were so special, Hashem looked upon the Jewish people and the world and brought redemption. The same thing is now that the Jewish women, because they're Baruch Hashem so special, so wonderful, through their merit, the redemption is going to come also. And since our generation is, we're down on page 143, since our generation is the last generation of exile and the first generation of redemption, as the words of my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe, leader of our generation, that we have already completed all aspects of service. We've done everything necessary for the redemption to come. And we are standing prepared to accept the Moshiach, our righteous one, my revered father-in-law, the leader of our generation, placed effort, and we are standing prepared to accept the Moshiach, our righteous one. The Rebbe then the Rebbe says, my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe of our generation, placed effort and greatly affecting and influenced the women in order to, why did he influence the women? In order to, this amazing thing, in order to hasten in the redemption that in the miracle of the righteous, in the merit of the righteous women of our generation. Now the Rebbe says, how are we going to go home? How are we going to be a third base of Mikdash? It's by have to influence and accept and give over to the Jewish women how special they are, and give them strength that they should do more, because they have the capability, and through them the Moshiach is going to be revealed to all the world, and we're going to be back home. So that's why he started to do that. And that's interesting. The Frierdiker Rebbe buried, I think when I was talking to some people, they said the Frierdiker Rebbe had, I think, one or two meetings. I think he said one meeting for the women. He just started. Our Rebbe Moshiach, saw women, men all the time. He had special things for children, for women. Nobody ever did something like this. Nobody in the world. He was the first. Okay, so now we're back on 143. And to add that the virtue of the Jewish women is emphasized not only in bringing the redemption, rather also mainly in the redemption itself. What's it mean? That not only that the Jewish women through the service we're going to bring in the redemption, read the third base of Mikdash right away, but it also has to do what the redemption is itself. As known as explained in Kabbalah and Chassidus, that in the time to come the virtue of the attribute of Hashem called Malchus, recipient woman, will be revealed, whose source transcends all other attributes, the giver, the man. As is written, the female will transcend the man, the woman of hour is the crown of her husband. Let's try and look at the down, maybe you could do. Okay, it's 19, the note down here. The attributes of Hashem are in general divided into two groups. The first 6 attributes which issue their qualities forward, likened to the man who gives to the woman. And 2, Malchus, which is the final attribute, the 7th, which receives from all the attributes before it. So likened to a woman who's a recipient from the man. So in other words, what we're talking about here is that the woman is the receiver. And Chassidus explains that Malchus received from what's above, but the source of Malchus, the receiver, is actually higher than the giver. And by it receiving from up above, it reveals its high source. Its source, that's how it's above everything, and everything becomes, the whole world becomes lifted up, because it's the bottom. In other words, so the women have a super high source, but it's not revealed. In the world, it seems they have to be receiver and not the giver. But when when they receive totally in a complete way, they become totally nullified. They themselves reach a level that's higher than anything. So that's what it says. It says that the female will transcend the male, and the woman of valor is a crown to her husband. Number 2, page 144. Number 2. And we may say the Rebbe is saying this is another chiddush by the Rebbe, something new, something special for our generation, special for me and you and everybody listening in the whole world. That this idea is emphasized also in relation to his yahrzeit, which is the completion of his service in his life in this year. So there's something special has to do with this, with his yahrzeit. The discourse, now the Rebbe is going to explain that his yahrzeit, before he passed away, he published a kontris, and it was published in the honor of his grandmother, and also in the honor of his mother. And they were the Rebbitzins. One was the Rebbitzin, the Marash, which is his mother, his grandmother, and the other one, his mother, was the Rebbe Rashab. And how they were so special, holy women, and because of through their doing their service in the world, and by their yahrzeit means they finished doing what they had to do. That this is causing the coming of the Moshiach right away. Let's see this inside, and I hope I said this right, but we'll see inside right now. The discourse that my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe Yosef Yitzchak, issued to be studied on the 10th of Shevat 5750, the day of his passing, was called Basi Lagani, I've come to my garden, my sister, my bride, was in correlation with the yahrzeit of his revered grandmother, Rebbetzin Rivka, may her merit guard us, and on the 10th of Shevat, she died on the 10th of Shevat, and the sequel that was after that, in other words, he published these two memorim, Yoshevis Beganim, that this was in correlation to the yahrzeit of his revered mother, the Rebbetzin Shterna Sora, may her merit guard us, on the 30th day of the Shevat. So the Frierdiker Rebbe published a kontris, and the kontris was, one of them was the 10th of Shevat, which when the Frierdiker Rebbe passed away, was also the passing away of his grandmother, and the other one was the second part was the 13th of Shevat, which was his mother. So as I've emphasized in the beginning of the discourse, it says, as emphasized also in the beginning of the discourse, it says, I come to my garden, my sister, my bride. What's this, my sister, my bride? This is the virtue and the dearness of the Jewish people, my sister, the bride. And we are the Hashem's sister, we are his bride, the bride. To the Holy One, blessed be he. And similarly, within the Jewish people themselves, the virtue and the dearness of the women, as known that Hashem and the Jewish people are similar to husband and wife. So therefore, that we are Hashem's wife, and similar to things, that means we're special, that Hashem wants us, he does special things for us. So the same thing within the Jewish people themselves, there's a special dearness to the Jewish women. And likewise, in connection with of the discourse, I've come to my garden, to my bridal chamber. This is the discourse that we talked about, that was published by the Frierdiker Rebbe when he passed away. To the place where my essence was revealed in the beginning, for the revelation of the essence of divine presence was in the lowest realm, namely the concept of real godliness below, so that he, the blessed be, may have a dwelling in the lowest realms, which is brought about through the service of Jewish people, which the Jewish women have special advantage in this phenomenon. So the Rebbe is talking about is, how do we bring the Hashem when before the sin of Adam and Eve, Adam and Chava, before their sin, the first sin, Hashem was totally revealed, and the world was just full of godliness, and everything was godliness, and God was everywhere, and everything was revealed in beauty. And by them sin, Hashem said he pulled himself away, and the world did not say such revelation of godliness. But when the Torah was given at Mount Sinai, Hashem revealed back to this level. Let's see. So he says, I've come to my garden, to my bridal shower, where it says, to the place where my essence was revealed in the beginning, and was in the beginning of the creation of the world, before Adam and Chava sinned. For the revelation of the essence of the divine presence was in the lowest realms, namely down here, namely the concept of revealing godliness below, so that he, blessed be he, may have a dwelling place in the lowest realms. That Hashem can dwell here, and that the place is so beautiful and holy, and we cleaned it up so much that Hashem can come and dwell, blessed be, with that dwell here. Not only that, this is where he wants to be, which is brought about through the service of Jewish people. This is what we're doing the whole time in this Golus, until we finish this work, is to make the world ready for Moshiach, to make the world a beautiful place. This lowest world should be able to shine like a shining diamond. And the Rebbe says, of the Jewish people, he says, with the Jewish women have a special advantage in this phenomenon. So the Jewish women, as a special, they could do better than the Jewish men can do. They should be very lucky. As known, that the descent to refine the matters of the world is more emphasized in the service of the matriarchs than in the service of the patriarchs, who themselves, the patriarchs, are above the world. So the Rebbe explains that the main thing is to make a dwelling place in the world, and he explains but that the imals, the mothers, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, that they had a special service, and their service was more into the world. However, the Amos, the patriarchs, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and that their service was more on a spiritual level, and accomplished in the world in a problem. Okay. So the matriarchs in their service of the world, who they themselves, the patriarchs, are above the world. Okay, and there the patriarchs accomplished in the world in a proper manner is specifically through the matriarchs. In other words, that in order for the avodah, the service of the patriarchs, the Abbas, what they did, that the forefathers that had to go through the service of their wives. Okay. In a slightly different wording, the completion of the service of the leader of the generation of Rebbe Yitzchak Yosef on his yard site is the completion of the service of the entire generation. Since the leader is everything, so the whole entire generation is finished. And being that this generation is the last generation, indeed, this marks the completion of the general service of Jewish people, women, in making a dwelling place for him. Blessed be he in the lowest realms. I have come to my garden, the essence of divine service was in the lowest realms. In other words, he's saying here that the Frierdiker Rebbe completed the service because it's his yard site. Therefore, everything was completed, and he completed this. Also means it's the Nazi call that everything is Nazi. He's the whole everything. So therefore, the whole generation completed its service and to make a dwelling place for Hashem below. Let's see. There's a note that he wrote 31 to page 146 down below, in the brackets. Note, the precise wording of the Rebbe Moshiach does not say Yeshus is Nasi Dorenu, the leader of a generation, rather Nasi Hador. Okay, he doesn't say the leader is Nasi Hador, the leader of the generation, emphasizing that he's not speaking about himself, heaven forfend, for he lives forever. In other words, he's talking about the Frierdiker Rebbe completed the service of the generation, not the Rebbe. Rather about his father-in-law. Similarly, the Rebbe King Moshiach says that this generation, instead, our generation, and merely the last generation, what's the Rebbe say? This generation instead of our generation, and merely the last generation without saying of exile. This is well understood based on what the Rebbe Moshiach explains in the words of 22 Shevat 57:52, that the first and the main step in making a dwelling place for Hashem in the Lord's world was completed upon the yard site of the 10th of Shevat. In other words, the Frierdiker Rebbe made the world a vessel for Hashem, the world a vessel for the revelations of Hashem, whereas the service of the Rebbe King Moshiach Shlita is to truly unite the physical world with Hashem and actually bring the redemption in the fullest sense. In other words, the world was ready to receive by the Frierdiker Rebbe, but the Rebbe Malchus is bringing it totally down. And the final thing, not only completing aspects of the service of time and exile for the redemption to come. In other words, the Rebbe says, so that part, it says that the generation of the Rebbe was the last generation of the exile, where our generation is the generation of Moshiach. So in other words, he's pointing out over here that this is the work, when we're talking about what the Frierdiker Rebbe did, it's the Frierdiker Rebbe, it's not the Rebbe. So we're making a big differentiation. And has added that regarding the general concept of the righteous one passing away, yard site and Ehula, upon the completion of their service, the verse says, my beloved descended to his garden. Similarly, I have come to my garden to pick roses, to take away the righteous ones of the Jewish people, who complete the Torah and commandments necessary for their souls. And furthermore, and mainly that the taking away, passing away, is in order that there be immeasurable greater ascent, which will be in the air of the resurrection. Those that dwell in the dust will arise and sing, and sing, and the righteous ones at their heads, souls within their bodies in this physical world, in which will be the revelation of the essence of divine presence, a dwelling place for him, blessed be he, the lowest realms, and true and complete redemption. So the Rebbe is talking about here that when he passes away, that a person completes his service. When the Frierdiker Rebbe, a person completes his service, the righteous ones, and that then he goes into the special garden. And what's it say? What's Hashem does? Hashem comes down into the world and sees he has a special garden of all the special holy Jews, and he goes and he sees that the rose that's just ready to be plucked. And he plucks it because it's beautiful. He loves the beauty of it, and brings it. He takes it away, and so he takes away the righteous ones of the Jewish people, because they completed the Torah and the commandments of the soul. And even more so, that he's taking them away is only in order that this rose should be replanted, or should stay forever, and to bloom even more and more in the times of Moshiach. That this beauty will be resurrected in a physical body in times of Moshiach, and then it will even be more beautiful. That will bring the blessedness of Shem in the lower worlds. What are we doing with time?
You got 6 minutes.
Okay, so let's see what we got here. I guess long. Okay, let's go at least one more. We do one more. Okay, number 3, page 148. And we may also connect with this the Torah portion of the week, especially since the passing away was on the holy day of Shabbos, in which the entire portion was read, the Torah portion of Bo. In explaining the words of the verse, come to Pharaoh, it says in Zohar, that Hashem brought Moshe into the room within rooms, the innermost chamber, and similarly regarding Pharaoh of holiness, that Hashem brought him, Moshe, into the room within rooms, to the loftiest level of Pharaoh, and is burst forward, meaning that all the lights burst forward and are revealed from him. So in other words, talks about, like we said before in the prior talks, that we talked about, that he came to Pharaoh, that Hashem, the power and holiness is where Hashem is, and so everything's revealed, and everything's revealed is revealed of bursting forward like an atomic bomb, like everything is strong and bursting. And in this, this what it means, that Hashem took him to Pharaoh, and in this is alluded to, it's hinted the relationship to the passing of the leader of the generation, the Moshe of our generation, that is sent to the most lofty level, the level of all godly lights burst forward, and all are revealed from him at the time of his passing. So the Frierdiker Rebbe God revealed his essence to him at that time when he passed away. So, and in this is alluded to the relationship of the passing of the leader of a generation, the Moshe of a generation. He says, okay, we just died. He says, okay, we said, moreover and mainly, that all the godly lights burst forward and revealed from him, come to Pharaoh, is the completion of the general service during his life in this world, to illuminate the world through the service of Torah and commandments. A candle is a mitzvah and the Torah's light. So this is what the Frierdiker Rebbe did. His whole service was to reveal the essence of godliness in the world. And also, in this concept, this is emphasized on the relationship to the on the relationship to the Jewish women. For one of the main commandments which is given to the Jewish women is the commandment of lighting Shabbos and holiday candles. It says a candle is a mitzvah and the Torah's light. Literally and clearly, this means not only a spiritual light as regarding the other commandments. Indeed, a general commandment that also includes all the other commandments is known is that the 248 positive commandments, 248 limbs of man, plus the 2 hands, the two aspects of love and fear of Hashem, which through them the fulfillment of commandments are done in complete way, is the numerical value of the Hebrew letter, the Hebrew word ner, namely 250. The Rebbe is explaining over here that the women who light the candle, this is a very general mitzvah, and it brings spiritual light to all the other mitzvahs and everything in the world. And we see that the numerical value of ner, which is nun resh, is 250. We see that represents the 248 positive limbs, and it represents and you add the love and fear, the two more, then it meant the negative command, the 250 negative commandments. And to note that the commandment of the lighting of the Shabbos candles is followed by the commencing of Shabbos, and furthermore, the commencing and accepting of Shabbos is through the lighting of the Shabbos candles before the evening of Shabbos prayers of the husband. So everything starts when the woman lights the Shabbos candles, and which is in this is emphasizing the completeness and general service of all the days of the week, illuminating the world with a candle, which is the mitzvah and Torah's light. So therefore, when you light Shabbos candles, this is the whole reason for the whole service of the week, is to reveal godliness, to refine the world. And that shows up that finally, when you light Shabbos candles, this is the work from the whole week. You refine the world, and now you're able to light the candles and light up the whole world, and the world is able to accept much more of the holy light of the Shabbos and Hashem. And likewise, regarding the general service of the leader of a generation, the general service of the Jewish people in our generation, what's our service and the service in matters of a candle is mitzvah and Torah's light, that the climax and completeness and the perfection is one on the holy day of Shabbos, which is ushered in by lighting the Shabbos candles. B, and on Shabbos the Torah portion come to paro, that all the godly words forward are revealed from it. So it says over here there's two things. Shabbos itself is a holy light because you have the holy candles, the lights, the holy light of Shabbos. And another one he says that especially Parshas Bo, because we're connecting this to the Frierdiker Rebbe, that everything is finished. Parshas Bo is the idea that all the lights of Hashem are burst forward and revealed. Mainly, that this is the preparation for the ultimate perfection of the candle is a mitzvah and the Torah is a light, namely the fulfillment of the commandments of your truly. In addition of all the godly lights burst forward and revealed from him, as will be manifest in time to come, the day which is all Shabbos and rest for life ever after. In other words, that this light, that by lighting the Shabbos candles, this will bring the light, the final light of Hashem, and will bring the final Gula Shlema. Thank you, everybody. And it's Hashem, tomorrow we will finish up, or I think we might be able to finish up. Not take a couple of days. Sei gesund.